Hello, we're going to talk about the clarinet. Whenever you open the clarinet, very important you have it on a flat surface. We recommend that all students do this on the floor because there are a lot of pieces that can easily fall and have an accident. So the first thing you want to do is check and make sure that your case is right side up. Very often it'll have a name on the case. As long as the letter is the right side up, that's the right choice. If it has latches that pull, usually if you're opening and you go up, we call that thumbs up because that usually is very successful. This case has two buttons in the middle. We open it up. There are four major parts to the instrument. Now, before we put the instrument together, if you have a brand new clarinet especially, you need to have some cork grease. There are different types of cork grease, okay? But it's very important we have some cork grease. All of the corks on the instrument, and there are four parts, you need to rub a little bit of cork grease on, rub it in with your fingers, and for about the first 3 weeks on a brand new clarinet, you need to do just a little bit daily. Not a ton, it shouldn't be goopy, but when the corks are brand new, they're kind of thick, they're kind of hard to put the instrument together. So a little bit of cork grease every day eventually starts to get into that cork, becomes much, much more easy to assemble. So when a student clarinet player starts to assemble a clarinet, the first thing they're going to want to do is take a reed out and very carefully put the thin side into their mouth. Now, because I'm talking about assembling the instrument, I have to talk, and so I will not have the reed in my mouth during this instrument assembly. When I assemble the clarinet, I like to start with the bell of the instrument. I often refer to that, if you think about a building, the basement is on the bottom, the bell is on the bottom of the clarinet. Now, the reason this is important is the long sections of the clarinet are kind of confusing at first. After the basement would come the first story of the building. The next part of the clarinet we look for has one cork on it. So one cork, first floor, that's going to connect to the bell. So I'm going to very gently hold anywhere that's black or circles. You don't want to squeeze anywhere that there's a rod because that can bend keys on the clarinet. So very gently, going to work in those two pieces, and then I'm ready for the second story of the building. Second part of the clarinet that we need, called the upper joint, has two corks on it. And when we connect the upper joint with the lower joint, we're looking for what's called a bridge key. When I press this button here, you can see this key moving up and out of the way. I have to hold that key down while I assemble the two parts of the clarinet, and that key is going to go over this alignment key right here. So again, holding that key, gently twisting. Beginners may need some adult help the first couple weeks that they're putting it together. These corks can be a little rough, and sometimes we can accidentally twist keys into one another. So highly recommend some adult help to start. After we've got our basement, first floor, second floor, so to speak, our next part's very simple. It's called the barrel. Looks like a barrel. Gently twist that onto the upper joint of the clarinet, and then we're ready for our mouthpiece. The mouthpiece is going to have a ligature on it. You want to take the ligature off so that you don't squeeze it and bend it. You always want to hold the two pieces you're connecting. So I'm going to hold the barrel, hold the mouthpiece, gently twist that on. You know your instrument is put together correctly when on the front you have 6 open holes that are aligned together. And along the back you have a thumb rest, a thumb hole, and then the hole in the mouthpiece is aligned with the back of the clarinet. After that, then it's time to put the reed on. You've been soaking the reed in your mouth the entire time of this procedure. First step is to carefully put on the ligature. If you put on the ligature upside down, it doesn't go on very far. And this will happen very often. If that's the case, simply pick it up, turn it over, and you're going to be in good shape. You want to loosen the ligature screws just a little bit. If they come out, no problem, you can put them back in. When putting on the reed, it's very important not to touch the very tip of the reed, because if that breaks, then you have to get a new reed. So what we do is we pull the ligature up a little bit, and this will take a little bit of practice. Take the back side of the reed. The back side of the reed, you can tap against things, not going to hurt anything. You're going to back that into the ligature. You can use your fingertips on the sides to guide it. And usually if a child's sitting on the floor, this is pretty easy after a little bit of practice. And then we're going to pull that ligature firm towards the barrel. And then all we need to do is adjust the little tip of the reed so that it lines up with the mouthpiece. Gently secure the bottom screw, a little bit less the top screw, and then you are ready for a successful clarinet performance. All right. So one of the most important things about playing a clarinet is that you need to have reeds. We recommend you buy reeds in boxes of 10. Now they come in various sizes, and different brands are usually better for different ages. So talk with your child's band director before you buy new reeds. The lowest number we should ever be starting on is a 2.5, and then we will gradually increase in strength from there. What I tell all the students is, if possible, you want to get what's called a 4-reed holder. It holds 4 reeds in it, and then number each of the reeds 1, 2, 3, 4 with a pencil or a marker. We're going to restart that.
Exploded reed case.
So one of the things I tell all of my students is that you should get what's called a 4-reed holder. It holds 2 reeds on both sides. It holds them nice and flat, so when they dry out, they don't warp or warble or anything like that. What I ask my students to do is number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then every time they play, rotate their reeds. Reeds are very much like shoes in that when you break them in, at first they're a little firm, then they're super comfortable, and then they wear out. So as long as you're taking care of your reeds, that's going to maximize the life. As soon as you break one, and then even the tiniest little chip, you need to replace the reed. So you get rid of that reed, you go into your box of 10, put that in here. I tell all of our students that when you have 4 reeds left in your holder and 4 reeds left in your box, it's time to start talking to your parents about getting new reeds. This way parents have ample time to make sure they secure new reeds for their child so that your child is always coming to rehearsals prepared. Clarinet player doesn't have a good reed, they're not going to have a successful day in band. Students need to realize that mom and dad can't always get reeds tonight because they have busy lives too. So that's the way we work it out. A couple of other things I would like to talk about. When you're finished playing the clarinet for the day, the first thing you would do is remove your reed, put it in your reed holder safely. The next thing you want to do is take off your ligature, make sure it's in a safe place. These are very delicate, they can get bent, and once they're misshapen, they don't work as well as they should. You're going to take your mouthpiece off. Just lightly shake out any moisture that might be in that mouthpiece. Be careful not to shake it on a neighbor or accidentally bump into a desk and things like that. Now the most important step is we need to swab out the instrument and get the moisture out of the center of the instrument. There are pads that cover many of the holes in the instrument, and if they're not cleaned properly, that extra moisture can draw in bacteria and things like that, and pads wear out faster. So there are many varieties of swabs. This happens to be a silk swab. It's always some sort of fabric on the end of a string that has a weight on it. Simply put the weight through the center of the instrument carefully. Line up your material and then just gently draw it through. Recommend that kids do that 3 times every single time before they put their instrument away, and that'll help protect the life of your instrument. A couple of other reminders when it comes to instruments is that they don't handle extreme temperatures well. Especially in Arizona, obviously heat is going to be an issue. You don't want to leave instruments in a car unattended unless the AC is running. You don't want to leave instruments in any direct sunlight. Just some things to remember. If you happen to be going up Mount Lemmon in the winter, you never want to hold them below freezing either.